Okay, hello. I am a little bit too high. I'll have to lower myself, or maybe I should just affect my camera not to make me look so high. There we go. That's not too bad. So I have been through this stream once a couple of days ago, and it seemed very stable. I was told, Twitch told me it's very stable, so hopefully we won't have the same problems this time that we had last time. Tonight we're going to go through 4 different games. Some Puddle Knights, Puzzle, Return Home, not Leave Home, which is a fast action shooting type thing. Vectronom and Ethereal. I have touched on it, Vectronom once last year, and I'm coming back for a little bit more this time. So I've also got the Twitch app running at the moment, and I must admit, am I supposed to look at this at the same time as the chat on the screen? I'm just going to get distracted and probably end up killing myself in all the games. I'm just going to shut it down. It's enough of that. Without much ado, let's go straight on to Puddle Knights. Here we go. Now, I did actually try using Play Night for this to try and work through the games tonight. Hang on a second. My sound is very loud, which I don't understand because I'm turning it down quite low. Let's carry on. Right, that's better. I tried using Play Night, and I started. Play Night, if you don't know, is a launching app, and I tried playing some of the games through Play Night, and they played fine. And then I looked at the streaming app, the streaming utility OBS. And basically it just kept on showing Play Night. So I was playing away and you would have been watching the Play Night app all that time. So back to first principles. So anyway, Puzzle Knights. So this is a game from, what do my details tell me? Lockpickle. And it's actually come out I think a couple of months ago, quite recent. And I was asked if I wanted the key for the game, and I said, okay. I mean, I must admit the name Puddle Knights didn't really grab me, but the kind of visuals looked kind of interesting, so I thought I'll give it a go. Puddle Knights, it's not going to really suck me in at all, is it? So let's just start off with the tutorial. So blah blah blah, I'm just going to explain it. So nobles have to get to the exit, and they can't walk over mud. All pretty straightforward with the tutorial. So there's a piece of mud here. So how do you get them over the mud? Flip over to your guy with the cape, your Puddle Knight, and that allows the noble to go forward. So here's a little bit more of a slightly more difficult puzzle. So if you just walk up, you get in the way, obviously. So you have to rotate yourself around so the cape can go in the correct direction. There we go. And that's the first tutorial level. Just teaches you the most basic mechanics. So we can move on to rounded squares. Next level. And from now on, it's just one scene per level. That was very unusual to have 3 puzzles connected in a single level. So a lot of the mechanics at this point, they're all about just making sure you're rotated around the right way and trying to make sure you create a path for the noble to get to. So the thing is, I've been playing this game such a lot now, these mechanics feel second nature to me. Walk up here, and now here's the bit which always gets a little bit awkward. So okay, your cape is 3 long, but there's not enough space for the noble to traverse. The solution is to head in reverse. Your knight's in the way, so just get your knight out of the way by heading south. Now the interesting thing, we'll just go for the next level. So let's see, so you need to get down here, and the problem is you want to put your cape on that spot at the bottom right there, but your knight standing in the way. and you want to kind of turn around, but there's not enough space because the noble is in the way. So you just have to go around like this. Now, one thing I want to point out is if the noble stands on the cape, the knight can't move. So you mustn't have the noble standing on the cape. Oops, let me undo. No, did I screw that up? Right, there we, oops, undo again. That happens a bit too often. I don't know why. There's something a bit funky about the controls where I feel like I often end up going one too far. There you go. Salty Horse telling me that he's mostly done with Puddle Knights, just have the extra puzzles remaining. Yes, there are quite a lot of extra puzzles. I'll talk about that in a minute. Right. Okay, so right, so your knight can go up, could go up here, and then the problem is your knight's now stuck. You cannot get your knight out of a dead end. So the correct way to negotiate this is to park your noble up there and work on that way. And there we got the same problem. The knight sort of gets in the way. And what's the correct way of solving this? Because you stick up there, right in the way. It's funny, I did this yesterday and 2 days ago, just as to refresh my mind. Oh, I think you have to do it that way. Yeah, get her out the way. So you can then turn around. There we go. God. There are ways to get out of dead ends later. Yes, I will cover that later, Salty Horse. I'm pretty sure we'll get to a level like that. Unexpected turns. Fairly linear. We can't go forward without getting through each tutorial level. And that kind of continues later on until you get to the end of a world, and then you'll get a lot of extra levels appearing. Now I'm stuck again. So let's move around here. Okay, oh, no, move out the way. So let's see, which way around do I want this? So that's interesting. So if I go around the other way, there we go. And then have the noble park there. Oop. And that's not going to work. I think we have to turn around. There we go. Again, I don't need to explain all this, just very second nature to me. When I went through these fairly slowly. This isn't the interesting stuff though. So, tell you what, let's go back to the main menu. Go back to the game I'm currently working through. Right. So when you get onto the second set of levels, you then get where it starts to get really interesting, where you have two knights. And the interesting thing here is when a knight is on the back of another knight, they can tear the cape. So when a noble's standing on a knight's cape, you can't pull against the noble, but you can pull against another knight. And this means you can get parts of the mud permanently covered, which is, you know, separate from the knight. Let me start this again, and then tear there, and we can then do the same here to this other knight, and then we can move our noble through. Now the interesting thing is, once a knight has lost all their cape, they can actually get into dead ends and out again, and that does become kind of important for quite a few of the levels, and it's more of a case of remembering you can do that. And this is where it does get more interesting. You've got now the extra action of being able to rip capes. How much cape do you want to rip, and where do you want to put those ripped cape sections? Let's have a look what's the second one look like. So here's the interesting level as well, which points out that you can also rip your own cape if you need to do that. So it's all sorts of extra possibilities hidden in these levels. Let's come out of this. Now, when I got through all these levels, then all these extra levels up the top appeared, and these are don't skip the wonderful olden level names. This is actually really hard. I'm not going to try and do this one. It took me ages to try doing this. So with the Metal Knights, they actually, you can't tear their capes, which means you've lost that ability, and suddenly becomes a lot more tricky. It's a little bit more Sokoban, if you want to put it that way. I mean, this isn't a Sokoban game, but I've said that it kind of uses the same mental headspace. These puzzles are all about space and boxiness and what you can move around in limited areas. And this, with the losing the tearing, in a way, takes the mechanic away and makes them a bit more fundamental, a bit more basic. They're still interesting, especially as you can still overlay the capes on top of each other. And one interesting thing I didn't point out earlier on is when capes are overlapping, that doesn't stop a knight moving out, and even if it doesn't cause any tearing. So there are those metal levels, and they all appeared, and I think I finished all of these ones here. Yeah. But all of the names are quite. Some of them are quite good, like the chasing your tail, about stepping on your own cape. And the second set of levels add this higher layer, and here the only way for the noble to move around, or anyone to move around across these gaps, is to walk across the heads of the little knights. And so I must admit, I'm not sure I found these as stimulating, though some of them are quite tough. And then again, I haven't finished every one of the extra puzzles here yet. But I find most of the levels are really quite interesting, although there are some blockers that I come across every now and then, like some of those metal levels. I haven't got to the end of the game yet. I've still got another 2 worlds to uncover, but in the 4th world you get these horrible drawbridges, and just I hate them. I really hate them. So these gates here, you can push them down, but if you cape comes off them, the gate will come back up, and a noble is forget about the mud, but a noble is not going to push a gate down. You're going to have to hold that gate down for them, and that creates so much more torture, because your knight tends to get stuck. Like, well, if I move the knight, the gate comes up and no one can come through, so I've got to stay here. Wait, hang on, the knight's in the way, no one can come through. That sort of problem. Where do I get this noble going to? I think I have to make him go this way and park him here. Oops, let's undo that. There we go. And you can go there. There. The thing about the levels where there's lots of mud, because nobles can only move around on the back of a cape, and your capes are typically too small for the level. If there's a lot of mud, you will find that those levels are quite laborious. It isn't that they're not difficult. It's not that it's easy or difficult. It's just the fact that the solution may involve a lot of moving knights back and forth to make sure you can move your noble around. That's not a huge criticism. It's just these are really lovely small compact levels. It's not like you've got lots of different obstacles to deal with, but it's amazing how much moving backwards and forwards a little bit of dirt will cause. But I've been playing this for a little while now, and I must admit I've really quite enjoyed it. just to show you this, the next mechanic, it turns up on the 5th set of puzzles, and you get the nobles with someone holding their long train. So they become as long as the knights to some extent. And this is where I feel the game is very Snakebird, because it's all about long snake-like protagonists in the game. But at the same time, this is different to Snakebird because you can actually edit the size of your snakes, and they can overlap on top of each other. And it was making me realize that the concept of the game of nobles, being trailing around with the knights putting their cape on the floor, must have been the origin of the idea, because I can't think of another theme that would possibly support these kind of mechanics. And it must have been the theme came first, which gave rise to the puzzle idea. And it's absolutely perfect. It's magical. And I must admit the graphics are pretty perfect as well in terms of their readability. You can see the knight very clearly and the noble very clearly, and the mud and the ground looks boring, but generally they're very easy to distinguish. You can also turn, if you need to, something we always have with these slight 3D puzzles. You want to be able to turn the levels sometimes. A number of times in Stephen's Sausage Roll, I wanted to turn the visuals. The only thing is, the thing I didn't realize, when you get the ability to turn the playfield, what then happens is that you suddenly feel like you're looking at a different puzzle. The number of times I've had a puzzle round this way and then think, actually, I can't quite see what's going on up there. I'll turn it around. And that's it. I've ruined my understanding of the level. I've just broken it. The comprehension is gone. And I feel like I'm having to learn again from scratch. You'll notice gradual different levels. The worlds have got different environmental details. I must admit, I haven't been paying that much attention. But when I look at the screenshots, I think, oh yes, that's some like autumn leaves, and this one's surrounded by water and lilies. Salty Horse just adding there that the concept is amusing on its own without the puzzles. It is it's a clever little idea. Let me just turn this back around. So the interesting about the trains is that, so let me just go around here. Now the interesting thing is, see that gap there? I can actually go through the gap. Obviously I don't want to do that, but I can go through the gap, and that is something that turns out to be quite important. And also the little servant can walk on mud as well. So really interesting convolutions of the mechanics thrown in here. So I'm working through it slowly. I play a level every now and then, and I just really enjoy it. I hate the name, but the one we came up on Twitter was Greg said something to do with Squire Maya, and we thought like, yeah, maybe Squire Maya, and what did I night? Oh, it sounded like Nightmare, but I can't remember what it was now. Night Mud or something. God, Night Maya. That's it. There's a little discussion going on between Salty Horse and Marcus saying about they have this problem elsewhere, and when you rotate a board game, it also changes what happens. Yes. So I will stop showing you the puzzles here, because you don't really want to watch me solving these puzzles all night. But I hope you find that Puddle Knights has some really interesting variety. It looks kind of very basic, but it's surprising how much of a head spinner it can be sometimes. Salty Horse saying he wished I had a reset button for the camera. Yes, that's right. Yeah, I've rotated it back to where it was, but yeah, that's what she thinks. Okay, so I will. Oh, one other thing. The undo. If I reset, this is one of those few games that will undo you through a reset, which was absolutely marvelous for something like Stephen's Sausage Roll, and quite important here. If you hit that R by accident and you lose where you were, it's like, anyway, I'll stop there, and that's enough puzzling for now. And we should move on to... Oh, wait a second. I should, if anybody's interested, I should put the link in the chat there. So, and of course, if you're watching this on YouTube afterwards, it'll be in the notes underneath the video. So we are now going to go full on action. Just launching it. So this is Return Home, which is a remake of Veron's original Leave Home, which I played way back in 2010. And Matt James, who is Veron, once Hermit Games, is well known for his sort of a retro aesthetic. But it's not. It's kind of a lie. It pretends it's like retro. It never existed. It's a very vibrant look to his games, and they don't screenshot very well, which is such a shame. I mean, you can get some nice looking screenshots, but they look. There's so much activity going on in the visuals that you just take a snapshot. It doesn't really give you the feeling of what actually happens in the game. So this is actually just it's a, I'm not going to say twin stick shooter. It's a shooter. It's a 2D shooter. And I played Leave Home a lot back in 2010, and I was rubbish at it. I felt I tried to work very hard to do well. I find that Return Home, this remake, an update, is a lot easier, but that may just be me. So we'll start off. This is definitely something you've got to play with a controller. And oh, sorry, I should have added. Puddle Knights is on Win, Mac, and they are coming to other. I believe they're coming to other platforms soon. Currently selling for about £10 on Steam. So just to let you know. Right, back to Return Home. So I just love the delicateness of the title screen. So you can see I got a high score there of 59,000. That was my highest score on playing Leave Home, and unfortunately Reagan Burns of MetaNet Software is at number 10, which upsets me somewhat. Now Leave Home is a version of the original game, but we want to get into Return Home, which is an updated version. So let's get going. So here you are, this shooty guy, and these are your parents. Basically, it's a metaphor for leaving home. And as you pick up, the more blue chips you pick up, the more angry you supposedly get. Wow. And that makes the game harder. The more blue chips you pick up, the harder the game gets. And you need the blue chips. You need the blue chips for the score to be higher. And every section has got a little name. As you can see, it pops up there. The circle at the top right tells you how long you've got in this zone before it runs out. You have infinite lives. This is a game about performance. You want to do really well because you've got infinite lives. There's no reason to try and... The only reason to not die is to keep your blue chip count up. Keep your score bonuses high. So desperately trying to pick up... I cannot play with an audience. You need to go away. Ah, right. So there's also the button here, the what's it call it? The right trigger, which can control, allow you to shoot in a different angle. But as you hold it down, it just goes all the way back. You actually have to, if you want to go in a certain direction, like at a slight 45-degree angle, you've got to hold the button in a precise position to reach that angle. If you push it all the way down, the shots go all the way back. And that's the thing. If you want to be an expert at this game, you've got to get the hang of getting the positioning of the shots, as the boss will eventually... Oh my god, I'm being attacked. I did not know. Can I? No, that was ridiculous. I was just score chasing there. Does that thing die? Doesn't look like it. Get the blue dots before they... Oh, they're gone. Okay. Fallow field vert. So these vertical levels weren't in the original Leave Home. Oh man. It looks lovely though, and the effects are just sound effects are just great. This is a procedurally generated shooter. You will not play the same game twice. Just like many of other Varen games, they're all randomized, and in fact the levels you're seeing may not turn up in another game. What I mean is, there's different zones which are being added all the time. So you go into another zone, and then you go into another zone, and you go into another zone, but in another game they may be in different orders, or different zones will be replaced, put in place. Oh, ooh, that's doing my head in. Okay, Spectrum loading noise. Okay, another sort of quiet level, except God, I spend most of my time on this level where it's all sweeping around, just chasing the blue dots. Oh, come on, give me blue dots. Give me the blue dots. As you can see, the more blue dots I collect, my shape gets a little bit bigger, like it's got horns, and I turn slightly blue. Oh, that gets me every time. I forget. This level, if you're shooting, those yellow lines become dangerous. I did so much better. I swear to you. The risk reward thing. You want to pick up the blue dots? Come on! Uh-oh. Alright, it's raining, it's raining. It's raining. I don't think you can get any points at this point. Okay, alright, let's kill things. I think... Alright. Oh, see, I'm getting quite blue now. And that represents, again, uh-oh. Whoa! I got quite blue now. Ah! I just shouldn't have shot! You idiot! Complete the blue things. Okay, is this the end of the game? Nope. Yeah, now it's getting a little bit more hairy because I'm so angry. I remember Leave Home used to be quite vicious. I get even a little bit of anger and it was just like, ah, you're doomed. Oh. Those backwards shots, very important. I always, wow. Fine. You can shoot these things out in the middle. If you shoot their middles out, but they need quite a bit of attention. And this is the bit where you think, ah, yeah, there we go. I can make it. Come on, I'm not going to get this one. All right, so this is the end of the game. It's the boss level where you get to kill your parents, or you know, it's a metaphor. So you have to shoot your parents' satellites. I don't know what that's a metaphor for, but it's a metaphor. It's metaphorical explosions is what it says in the text. So I'm not making this up. So let's see if we can take out her arms. I tend to think of this as mother. Okay, I'll be honest. I don't know why. I do. Okay, now she opens up and the heart is there, so you can just. Oh, this is where it becomes important. To get the buttons just quite right. Oh. Right, come on the top again. Can I get the position? Ah, you take quite a lot of hits, you know. Well. I'm so bad. I think I might God, I take so many hits. I'm so bad at this. But I love playing it. Can I? No! Oh, I'm not going to do it. At least I blew Mummy up the other day. I couldn't do that for you. So, Hell Hull release. It shows your, this graph is showing your anger as you go through the game. So you can see that it's doing not too badly. And there was that section in the middle where I was quite strong and blue. And then at the end, I was rubbish. So what a shame. And you can unlock all these other sections, which are more or less, they're extra. They're just like one level of the game to have a go at. I'm not sure what that is yet. What's this one? Kernowek. Let's have a look. What have we got in here? Carrick. Oh, that's Deveron plus E. What about this one? Is it Fallowfield plus E? Fallow Tunnel. Let's go for the Fallow Tunnel because you didn't see this section just now. So it starts off easy enough. You get loads of blue goodies. Get yourself very very angry indeed. I'm going to regret this though. It's going to turn, isn't it? Oh, here we go. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, so yeah, this is the bit where here's the tunnel. Yeah, I knew it. It feels like you're traveling down someone's intestine. A robot intestine. Okay, I'm not going to shoot. There's nothing to shoot here. You just have to move quickly. Told you, I'm rubbish at this game, but it doesn't matter. I can keep on. Oh, God, when it's turning. Good God alive. There you go, they get a little bonus at the end there. See, got lots of anger there because it was so generous at the start. I'm number 9 and I'm still behind Reagan Burns. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. So that is Return Home. I mean, it's one of those things that I kind of keep on. Well, I left Leave Home in my drive all the time because it was just nice to have a go at now and again. As I said, procedurally generated, no two games will be alike. I got better at it, but I never got very good at it. And that button, the button action, you need to try and get the right angle to hold the button in just the right amount. I mean, normally it's not the kind of thing you get when you're using that button in action games. You like hold it down and you just fire. So yeah, that came out last year. I didn't even ask for a key. I just went out there and bought it. I knew I'm gonna have that. It's currently going, I think, for about £4. It's Windows only, I'm afraid, for those of you on other platforms. And I will give you the link to Steam, I think, which is the only place you can buy it. Oh dear, what have I done? I think I've broken it. Okay, let me go to my loading screen. Yes, it didn't come out nicely there. I had lots of clicking noises, which I'm sure you heard. Let's dump that in the chat. Okay, so there you go if you're interested in Return Home. So moving on to our third entertainment of the evening, which is Vectronom. Now, I did play this last year. I guess we just hit play. So yes, it came out on the day I was doing a stream last year, and I begged them, please give me a key. I really want to show it tonight. And I did. I showed it for the last few minutes of the game, of the session, and it was actually quite horrible because I wasn't very experienced at the game, and I was just like, right, just look at the screen, don't be careful. And I wasn't really talking very much about the game. So anyway, Vectronom is a rhythm isometric platformer. Let's just let's go for level select. So you see all these colored oh god, I can't think the right word. Things you plug in on the left here. Each one of these is a short set of levels, and as you make more progress with the game, they get added here, and you can select them. So you can see the first one is called Vogon Ship, the next one's called Monolith. We'll start with Monolith. Have a quick look at Monolith. So you have to there you go. You're supposed to go with the music. This one's actually fairly simple. And you... 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, I find I often on this kind of slow level, and it's very easy. I feel I'm not compelled basically to go with the music. So everything is moving with the music, and usually the levels go better if you go with the music. And as you can see, little squares, they're pickups and they're like bonuses, and quite often they'll make you go all around the houses to pick that up. And important thing is that the pickups, if you don't make it all the way through, the pickups get reset. You've got to pick them up and go back the way, you know, get out safely. You can't just like pick it up once. So this is what happens at the end of the level. You get told about what your performance was like. So it took me 3 tries, I got all pickups, and my precision with the beat was just 51%. Let's have a look at the next one, Clover Spike. And what's interesting is as you make your way through the levels, the music begins to layer up as well. And it gives that sense like, yeah, come on, let's do this. I don't think that sounded as cool as I thought it was going to sound. Get out the way, Pyramidy. It's easy. When you get the beat, it's good. But there are some levels where you think you're trying to follow the beat, but it's putting obstacles in the way. It's not quite right for you. I'll show you the one I'm stuck on later. They're moving faster than that. Yeah, that was silly. Okay, let's make this square. I'm going at the faster beat in my head. 1, 2, 3, go. Get out the way. There we go. Wasn't sure if the last bit had a gap on it. How well did I do? All pickups, 52%. Okay. Then we're on to push. And then we get on push. We've got these little trampoline things. And you've got to bounce on them in the right direction. If you don't, it'll push you off into the void. Oh, the temptation just to keep on running forwards there. Right. Must admit, I don't like this bit here. It's a little bit awkward because it's so isometric and there's no perspective. It feels you're not quite sure where to drop off there. It's a little bit awkward. Now you'll notice there's a pickup in the top left there. If you go to pick that pickup, if you go to get a pickup, you are forced to go around the whole thing again. Oh, you know you shouldn't have done it. I was getting way too excited there. I actually don't like the trampoline levels very much, so I'll leave it. Let's do something else. Back to the level select. So there's a lot of comedy in this game. That just the way sometimes you look at it and you think, what? Let's have a look. Tower Crush. Arrow. What does Arrow look like? Factory Ship. Spy. Factory Slalom. Ottoman. I mean, look at this. This is. I just love this. Easy enough. If you know what you're doing. What? What did I do wrong? There we go. Okay, yeah, now this is going to do your head in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you anyone do these, you count or sing or something. Oh, right, you know what? Pickups, not going to happen. Hang on, what am I going to do here? Ah, I've got to go in the right time. Yeah, what? Yeah, you're going to go backwards, I think, if you're going to get those pickups. Yeah, no pickups for me. And another one I find kind of great. Oh yeah, we got the diamond ones. I do love these. They feel really good when you get them and you get into the beat. It's just a lovely feeling. This one's easy enough. Yeah. And then it does this to you. If I remember rightly, you just have to go across. You tend to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait. Yeah. This is the one. This is the one that tends to blow your mind, because you can make your way up and then you're like, well, how do I get around? Right. I got this. Oh. And it's at the top. What? I can't even get to the top. What's going on with my gaming? That's the bit at the top. The bit at the top always gets me. By the way, when I was rehearsing this, I gave up on the level. I didn't try and do it. Oh. Up, left, right, up. Right. Oh, I'm not with a beat. Not with a beat at all. Can I just say though, with this game, you can use the gamepad, but I find the gamepad does not work very well for me, because not only is it like isometric, it's on an angle, but I find that I push in a diagonal sometimes, which makes me go the wrong direction, and I die all the time. When I first got the game, I tried playing with the gamepad. I was like dying. I couldn't understand. I was much better when I played it at res. But then I used the keyboard. I'm like, oh yeah, at res I was using the keyboard. The keyboard is good. Trust the keyboard. So where are we? Back to the level select. I'll show you what I got up to. Yeah. I looked at this for a while. I actually cracked this earlier tonight. I had another quick go before the session tonight. And it's just, you have to go forward and back. 1, 2, 2, 2. Oh no. you can't jump in. Back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Forward. Back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Forward. Back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Forward. Back. No! Come on! I was supposed to show everybody. All 3 of them. I assume it's 3 people at least. But anyway, I love that game. It does one other little trick up its sleeve, which is you can have multiple players. I'm not even sure what the keys are for all of them. There we go. Anyway, you can have someone on gamepads as well. The only thing is, we played this by default and resed because, with multiple players, because it was a way to get 2 people playing at once on one machine. But something that got kind of awkward is that when you're together, you're not quite sure who's jumping. You just lose track of which cube you are when you're so close together. And there's this race sometimes to try and get across. Now, I don't think you're actually marked individually. There's a sense that if someone gets to the end, that's good, as long as someone got to the end. But when you're all together, it's like, whoa, hang on, I'm trying to move. So I don't know if I really recommend it as a co-op. It might be good for kind of party game where people are like just, you know, falling off and having a bit of a laugh. But if you really want to finish this game, I think single player is where it's sort of at. But anyway, that is Vectronom, and I'm gonna finish that game one day. I just play it off and on. It's not a good game to play when you're half asleep at night because you just can't get the beat. As you've already seen, I was just killing those levels earlier on, and I was dying left, right and center tonight. So that's all I want to show you of Vectronom. So as I said earlier, that they provided me with a key. It came out last year from Ludopium. It is currently £9 on Steam and Switch, and £4 on mobile if you want to take the mobile version. And it's on practically every platform that ever existed: Windows, Mac, Switch, iOS and Android. So I'll give you the link in the chat if anybody wants to go there and have it. So let me come out and go back to our loading screen. And we'll go on to our final game, which is the magical Ethereal. A game I didn't know I liked to begin with. From Nonsense Arts. So, Ethereal is a puzzle game, sorta. And I'll explain that as we go along. This is actually nominated for the IGF in 2019, the 2019 IGF for Excellence in Audio. They didn't win. And they did come away with the Audience Award though. So I didn't know any of this when I picked it up. I think someone mentioned it in the comments on Electron Dance, and I thought, well, all right, I'll take a look at that. I saw some pretty visuals and I thought I'd give it a go. Now, I'll talk about why. First of all, I was like, yeah, I'm sold on this, and then I didn't play it for a long time. So let's do a new game up here. Yes. So I'm going to be quiet now while it does its little opening cutscene, because it's just glorious that this, it's just so lovely. I mean, visually it's very interesting, simple and abstract, but those sound effects, oh, they give me the heebie-jeebies. Oh, so this is handed then over to you, and I don't know what the abstract story is. I think you're all being separated and you have to go and find everybody. That's all those diamonds separating, I think. So what makes it interesting is the mechanics are kind of extremely unusual. The movement is very unusual. You get to move left and right on a wire, and you can only move up and down. You see it's got a little black arrow there? You can move up and down through walls. You can only move up and down through the walls, and then left and right as far as you want to. And it's like, wow, that's a weird kind of a mechanic. And you have to keep on making your way up. Yes. Doesn't get old. Doesn't get old. So then you're thrown into this, and to be honest, it gets very confusing. I sort of worked my way through the confusion. It took me a while to realize maybe I'm taking it away from you playing, but I don't think it's a big deal. This is essentially the overworld, you know, your main hub. And there are 4 different zones, and it's all very linear, to be honest. You can only go into one zone. And when you get to that world, it'll change. And then you'll see lots of places you can go to. And that's like, there's lots of puzzles in there. So this is like choosing which zone. Inside a zone, there's lots of puzzles, and you choose which puzzle to take on. Again, though, it's not completely linear, but it is highly linear. You don't often have the choices. Let's do that again. I just love the sound. It's really good. So, it's now in a colourful world, and you can see much more clearly. Then, see this? Completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. That doesn't mean anything. It has no impact on the game whatsoever, like in terms of like solving puzzles. It's just a nice thing, and like that's why I love this game. It goes a bit deeper than that though. So you get to push these little diamonds into these sort of diamond receptacles, and this is where you get access to what you might call a puzzle. Now, unfortunately for this game, there's no way of, I don't think there's any way of going back. Once you've done a puzzle, that's it, it's done. There's no way to reopen it. So it's a constant forward motion. So I couldn't open up one of my finished games and show you some levels that I'd previously done. I have to basically go from the start. But what the puzzle is quite simple, effectively. You just have to pick up all the colored shapes. So here's one. Now I'm blue, and I have to get the other blue shape. Make my way up. So I'm going to try and get these two green shapes. Again, I'm very familiar now with the mechanics of movement, and so this feels very second nature to me, like when I was in Puddle Knights and I was just racing around like a lunatic. But it's not obvious when you're playing first time. It feels very, very unnatural. And here's what I want to show you. You have to get the other pair before touching something else, because you'll then be colored with that color and the other shape will revert back to its original position. So, oh, why did I do that? So you have to get them in pairs together. And that tends to be what a lot of the puzzle is. How can you do that? So we picked up all the colors, and now the entire level drains away into grayscale. We return. So you can see we filled in one of those squares. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 it was. So there are 6 puzzles in this area. I have to make our way through. So let's go and see. Can I go up there now? I don't think so. I have to follow this around the same way. Okay. Go through here. And as you go through, a lot of the mechanics are introduced here. Not all of them, but a lot of them in this first area. So, get these guys in pairs. There you go. So when you get the pairs of colors, they're not like keys. They don't automatically unlock something. It's just sometimes they will unlock something. It's a way of kind of gating your progress sometimes, but it doesn't always happen. Right, so what do we got here? So there's a tricky one. You'll notice down there, the 2 shapes are inside the boxes, so we can't get those. So we have to... Well, I picked up the green one, but I need to get the blue one and match the other blue one. So I'll have to avoid hitting that. There we go. And we get the 2 blues. Now those boxes have moved, and I have to gently make my way around. Good. All done here. Okay, let's make our way out. Again, it seems what was happening to me, I was finding myself just being compelled through inertia to go forwards. I found that I wasn't struggling to do anything. The worst thing was I got confused in this world where I was supposed to go next. And I didn't feel like I was struggling. And as you can see, the opening cutscene was full of lovely effects, but as you go through the game, it's more repetition. You're not seeing any cool new stuff like the opening of the game. And so the compulsion to keep on going was lost. But I returned to this recently. I thought, you know what, I should just, carry on with this game. I was having a good time with it. There's no reason to stop. And then it starts to get harder. Okay, so here's another little mechanic. These little connected circles, they're like little switches. So if I go up here, I can't get through. But if I hit the switch, there is a path cleared above, but I can't get up there. So I could go back for the switch, but I reset it again. So the solution here is to go around and flick the switch from the other side, which allows me to go up over the top. And I think there is a sign of where the game is going. What this game is really about is it's about navigation, understanding the language of the game. It's very unusual to be able to travel on these straight lines left and right and only be able to go through walls up and down. And your brain isn't really ready for it. And it becomes quite hard at times to see exactly where you're supposed to go. And that really is a lot of the game. Now there are some very difficult puzzles later on. I'm not kidding. Where I could not physically work out where I was supposed to go. And I actually looked up a walkthrough for one. And the main reason I did that is because I unfortunately found a bug on this, was it penultimate level or something, where you could move something into a position and then move it back if it wasn't the right position. But what was happening is I'd move it into a position and then the game bugged and it thought it couldn't move it back and then kept on resetting it. I was stuck into a position which I put it into and I couldn't get it back. And this happened too many times and eventually I gave up and just looked for a walkthrough to see myself through it. I was quite surprised I didn't see the way through though. That was so smart. Okay, so I'm going to get the blue one I would guess. That trigger opened that gate. So I guess I'll get the one at the top. There. Get this red guy here, but I'm going to have to trigger the switch. Go down through there. Get Mr. Red. Okay, that's what we need to be able to move on further downwards. So this is going to be a game of switches. So I can get that blue one. But that's not working. Okay, there we go. Got access to that at last. And finally this green one becomes available to us. If I remember rightly, that has to be flicked before I can do this one. Oops. Right, up here. There we go. Sorry, I went through this before and I remembered that if I didn't do that switch at the bottom, I wouldn't be able to get up again. You'd work it out too eventually. Seriously. So I want to get onto the circles. That's what I really want to show you, the circles. I think I'll have to do another puzzle or two before I get there. Right, where next? Down through here, I would guess. Now these triangles, they are basically like, well, little teleporters. They zoom you down across the void of space. Okay, so we got two green. Oh, I think we have. No, that's not going to work out, is it? Ah, it's the green. So the problem is, how do you get that green there? That green, if I go over here, that red will be in the way. If I was to get the red, I can't get around the green to get to the other red, the other side. The trick here is to use the little triangle there. So you can pick up the other green and skip the red if you went the long way around. Okay, let's move on over here. Let's get... Oh, that's too high for us. So this is where you start to have to think about, well, how do I get there? And you have to come in from the top. The two level walls above the top will give you access, but you cannot, even though it's just right there, just above your head. You're not going to be able to reach that. So, so the interesting thing is you're actually stuck. You've got a triangle here you can't reach, and a triangle, the green triangle above you can't reach either. You have to go all the way back and go down to go across. The thing is, I think I was brute forcing a lot of this stuff, like, oh, that didn't work, let's try the other way. Wasn't really thinking. Later on, you have to think. So now you also have these sections where, if you go along these wires, they can control the pieces which move around. You can, like that piece up there, we can now shift it backwards and forwards. And that means we can now go up here and come along the top here. And I think this time I need to move that in between the triangles, so I'll be stopped there. I can go over here, pick up this piece. Okay, that's done. Okay, how do we get out of here? Maybe it's here. And then we can, that's what that triangle is there for all along. Okay. There is also a number of secrets in the game, and I didn't know they existed until I got over halfway through. And then at that point I was like, oh, I can't go back and go find them. Well, at least I haven't tried to go back and find them. I don't think you can. You look at this level, the puzzles are kind of sealed up. Oh, maybe I should try that right now. I don't want to though. Yeah, that means that the puzzle's gone, right? Okay, let's throw ourselves up here. Nice. Okay. Oh, up here. See? I didn't see it. I was thinking, oh, how do I get up there? And I didn't see this little overhang here. It's all about like teaching your eyes to do the right things. Okay, circle. This is the point where you go like, oh my god. Yes, it will rotate the world. You have a circle, which really changes a lot when you have a level with a circle on it, because you have to think about the other possibilities. Suddenly you can now go up and down through the world because that's where the lines are, and the walls become the barriers of the walls beside you now become things you can climb through. And yeah, on a number of levels it becomes like quite a lot of, I can't talk you through some of the nuance here in terms of how the rotations work and multiple rotations, but it can cost you a lot of like brain activity. Am I doing the right thing? Okay, I think I have to get the green ones. I don't think it mattered. So this is the last level I'm going to do. I've shown you all I really want to show you. There are some little more tricks in the game, but I think that's all I'm happy to show you for now. Now we can, having finished that section, climb up here. I was doing this and I got so confused about how to do this. Because what I was doing, I was then going this way, saying, well, okay, that got this olive one, but that's all the way back there, and there's a, if I go down, there's a, well, on the left now, there's a purple one in the way, a dark purple one. I could get the light purple one, but that's the one I picked up, and I had to go for the green to get it, and I was like, well, I don't get it. Thing is, the correct way to do this is to, you have to climb all the way around here. You can get that green one, and then you've got the circle, which is on a perfect line with the other green one. So you can pick that one up there, and that's good, and you get a pair sorted out. That then means you can do the rest of it. It's often quite a lot of the challenges in the game. You know, sometimes it's just that first move. The right first move unlocks the level. Not always, but most of the time. I can't get the dark purple one, I get the light purple one. So first, so let's do that. Now we can get the dark purple one. Come down here. There we go. And that's that level finished. So generally these are the kind of the very simple, easy puzzles. There's a sort of gentle quality to it as well. It makes you stop when you get all those, when you've got all those pieces. There's a pause where it's almost like a cutscene, which shows you, you know, oh, the exit's popping opening. It is popping open, and you have to take a moment to watch that, and it will not allow you to just race around all the time. You have to stop for a moment. And that, in a way, reminds me a little bit of The Witness. I don't want to make the kind of blasé comparisons, but I just mean in terms of the puzzle is constantly saying, stop for a moment. And the ending is very interesting as well, how it plays out. It's not particularly challenging, but there's a sort of positive gloriousness about it. Like you're free now, just, you know, complete the game, you know, go and do it. But yeah, I really enjoyed Ethereal, and I was kind of sad when I finished it. But you know, all good things have to come to an end, and I think it had probably explored all it really needed to store. Romanos 14 just pointing out that he understood why he or she understood why I wanted to show the circle. Indeed, that's the sort of game changer. But there are other game changers too, which I haven't shown, and you come across those later. But I think the circle is the most, the one that blows your mind the most. So that's Ethereal, and that was from Nonstarts. It's priced at the moment around £7.20, and it's available for both Windows and Mac, but I believe that's only on Steam. So I'm going to grab the link for you and check it into the chat. So I think that brings us to the end. Only ran about 10 minutes over. That's probably because I died like about 10 billion times in Vectronom. But yeah, apart from that, it's been quite successful. I wanted to do 5 games tonight, but I knew I couldn't do it without going to an hour and a half. And we'll leave Yedoma Globula, which I was going to do, until next time, and hopefully that won't be that long away. Trying to do this a bit more regularly, like I was originally. So I hope you got something out of the streams tonight, and see you again soon. So Mogambo Kushwa.